For years, fans believed they knew everything about Amber Glenn. On the ice, she looked fearless, confident, untouchable. Every performance carried energy that made audiences believe she had finally found her place among skating's elite. But behind the cameras, behind the medals, and behind the carefully controlled interviews, there was another expressions, the emotional reactions after routines, the visible exhaustion. The moments where she looked overwhelmed even after successful performances. Back then, viewers assumed it was simple stress. Now, some believe it may have been something much deeper. What shocked many fans even more was hearing reports that allegedly dealing with internally. But not everyone agrees on how these revelations should be discussed. Some people believe private mental health struggles should remain personal unless the athlete chooses to speak publicly in detail. Others argue that stories like this are important because they help us expose the hidden emotional realities athletes face behind the scenes. That debate is becoming bigger. Athletes can become during mental health struggles. Several people connected to elite sports have explained that competitors often fear being seen as unreliable or unstable if they openly discuss emotional difficulties. That fear can create silence, and silence can become dangerous. Many viewers now believe Amber Glenn may have spent years trying to protect both her career and public image, while privately fighting emotional battles most people never noticed. And if that's true, it completely changes the way fans look at her journey. Because suddenly, her performances become more than just athletic routines, they become evidence of survival. Moments where she kept going despite emotional pressure that may have been overwhelming behind the scenes. That perspective is exactly why so many people online are now calling her story both shocking and heartbreaking. Especially because from the outside, her career often appeared to be improving. She was gaining recognition, building momentum, receiving praise, and yet, according to recent discussions, internally, she may still have been struggling far more than people realized. That contrast between external success and internal pain is something many viewers relate to personally, which is one reason this story has spread beyond the skating community itself. People who know nothing about figure skating are now reacting emotionally because the situation touches on something universal. The reality that someone can appear completely fine while silently falling apart internally. And unfortunately, many people recognize that feeling. Now, fans are waiting to see whether Amber Glenn herself will directly address the growing to ignore. What shocked fans the most was realizing how many times Amber appeared visibly emotional during periods when the public believed everything in her career was finally improving. At first, people assumed it was simply passion, the pressure of competition, the stress of wanting. But one thing nearly everyone agrees on is this: the emotional pressure surrounding her career appears to have been far heavier than most fans realized. And once people started noticing the possible signs, more clips began resurfacing everywhere. In another interview that recently went viral again, Amber spoke openly about self-critical sports like figure skating. Unlike team sports, where emotional support may exist more naturally among teammates, figure skating can become deeply isolating. Athletes spend enormous amounts of time alone training, obsessing over mistakes, analyzing performances, and dealing with constant judgment from coaches, judges, fans, and social media. That environment can slowly become emotionally overwhelming, appeared unusually vulnerable after competitions. Some clips show her looking emotionally drained during interviews even after strong performances. Other moments capture visible frustration after mistakes that seem to affect her far beyond normal competitive disappointment. Back then, viewers simply called her emotional. Now, many believe they were witnessing signs of something much deeper. And perhaps the most heartbreaking part is this: a lot of fans think Amber may have felt she needed to hide her struggles in order to survive professionally. That possibility has become one of the biggest discussions surrounding this story, because many athletes fear being labeled mentally weak if they speak openly about emotional struggles. Some worry it could impact sponsorships, opportunities, public support, or even how coaches and officials view them. That fear creates silence, and silence often pushes people deeper into isolation. Fans now believe Amber Glenn may have spent years trying to balance competitive expectations while privately carrying emotional burdens that few people truly understood. What makes the situation even more emotional is hearing how hard she reportedly worked to keep moving forward despite everything. People close to the skating world continue praising her determination, resilience, and ability to keep fighting through setbacks that would have broken many athletes mentally. And now, instead of only admiring her athletic performances, fans are beginning to admire the emotional strength it may have taken just to continue competing at all. That shift in perspective has changed the entire public conversation surrounding her career. But at the same time, not everyone's audiences become attached to that image. Admitting emotional struggles can feel terrifying, because suddenly the athlete fears becoming viewed differently, weaker, unstable, broken. And unfortunately, social media can make those fears even worse. One emotional moment becomes viral. One vulnerable statement becomes endless perfect. But because she kept going, despite everything she may have been carrying internally, and perhaps that's the biggest reason this story affected people so deeply, it shattered the illusion that public confidence always reflects private reality. Some of the strongest looking people are silently fighting battles nobody sees. That truth resonates with millions. Many supporters are hoping it is undeniable. Amber Glenn's story has started an emotional conversation that reaches far beyond figure skating, a conversation about pressure, isolation, perfectionism, and the hidden emotional cost of constantly trying to appear okay. For many viewers, the most heartbreaking part is imagining how long she may have carried these feelings privately, while audiences continued expecting more performances, more interviews, more smiles, and more success. That kind of pressure can slowly drain anyone emotionally. And fans are now realizing how easy it is to miss signs when someone becomes skilled at hiding pain behind ambition and professionalism. But despite everything, one detail continues standing out to supporters everywhere. Amber never stopped fighting. Even during setbacks, even during criticism, even during emotionally difficult moments, she kept stepping back onto the ice, and for many fans, that strength means more now than any medal ever could. Because in the end, this story stopped being about shocking secrets. It became about survival, about resilience, about the emotional reality so many people quietly experience every day while the world assumes they're completely fine. And maybe that's why this situation connected with so many viewers around the world. Not because people wanted drama, but because they recognized something painfully human inside it. The truth that sometimes the loudest smiles hide the deepest struggles, and sometimes the people who inspire millions are also the ones silently begging for peace behind the scenes. As for Amber Glenn herself, fans continue hoping the future brings healing, stability, and the freedom to live without feeling forced to hide emotional pain anymore. Because after everything people believe she may have endured privately, many now see her strength in a completely different way.